Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We have been looking at the 7th chapter, talking about how people, because of the force of their wants, end up shortchanging themselves and invoking micro-devatas. Micro puja. And then what do you get? Micro results. Which are all what? Time bound. And then afterwards they go away, and then again another micro avatara is invoked. And this is how many people, most of the people in the universe, spend their time not ever knowing Ishvara fully, completely. Why don't they ever know Ishvara fully? Because they are just pulling on one particular kind of quality, attribute, like Vigneshvara. I want what? No obstacles to be there, and so therefore from this particular aspect, from this particular place, from this particular form, function, I will invoke Bhagavan. See, that same Ganesha can be invoked as the infinite. So it's not, the problem is not with Ganesha. You have to understand. It's not that certain devatas are micro devatas and certain devatas are macro devatas. No such thing. It would be a great disservice to chapter 7 if we go away with that idea. The whole tradition says what? That in the smallest of the smallest and in the biggest of the biggest, the entire Bhagavan can be invoked. So if Bhagavan is everything, I can invoke Bhagavan's presence in anything. But what is that Bhagavan? We have to see. So Ganesha can be invoked as the infinite. Para, from the standpoint of para prakriti, we have seen what para prakriti is. But then most of the people are still in the apara mode. Apara means not ultimate, relative prakriti, relative everything. And so this is the problem. So when Bhagavan becomes a means to a badly wanted end, then what am I invoking? I am invoking a micro aspect of this Bhagavan. When Bhagavan becomes for one the end in itself, then it's a different conversation. That is what is, we saw that also. The first two kinds of bhaktas, who are they? The 911 bhakta, artha, and then I give you something, you give me something back, artharthi, the one who wants to forge a relationship, pragmatic. They are all udaraha, they are wonderful, but there is a kind of a line drawn between the first two and the last two. Why? The first two kinds of bhaktas are only seeking Bhagavan for various ends. And then the other two are seeking Bhagavan. In fact, that's only the third one, seeking Bhagavan as the end. The fourth one, who is a jnani, For her or him, Bhagavan is neither the means nor an end, but the truth of oneself alone. This is how it was. Now, what happens when Bhagavan is a means to an end, and how the people who invoke Bhagavan as a means to small ends, large desires lead to small ends, big desires, and pressure-filled desires. Pressure, the word for pressure in Sanskritam is vega. Vega means pressure. So when the desires are not the problem, we saw earlier Bhagavan said, Kamosmi Bharatarshabha. I am in the form of desire, but then I am not the pressure-filled desire. And adharmic desires, I am not. And so here, the pressure-filled desires makes me want to urgently seek Bhagavan's help in fulfilling it. And that urgency here makes one craft new kinds of ways of praying and the ends that are there. Yesterday we saw the story of Visa Ganapati temple in Andhra somewhere. Visa Ganapati. And so, this is just a specific invocation based on the cultural pressure to go to America and to stay there and to be permanently there. Nothing is permanent, but I want to be permanently in America. This is how it is. So then, so many things I can seek from Lord Ganesha, including self-knowledge. What do I ask for? Visa. So, this way, one shortchanges oneself, and there seems to be a concomitant relationship between the greater the desire, the smaller the aperture through which, an inverse concomitant relationship between the force of the desire, the greater the desire, the smaller the aperture through which I approach Bhagavan. The greater the pressure of the desire, the smaller the aperture. And in this way, and Bhagavan had some wonderful names for them. Do we remember what those names are? So, small-brained ones, alpamena, means not much viveka going on. Okay? There is a sign to let, meaning lots of room for rent. And lots of room is there, not much going on. Not much going on doesn't mean they're not thinking. On the contrary, they're thinking, scheming, manipulating. How can I get what I want? How can I get what I want? Now. It's not that there's not much going on. Then there won't be much difference between a sadhu who is in samadhi and a contemplative person and them. There is a lot going on. But the lot that is going on is what? Is all the wheels of the buddhi, the mind, are churning to get met these desires that are causing pressure. One is totally, solely, fully committed to that alone. That's why Bhagavan calls alpamedhaha, for them, alpamedhas. Why? Because the brains are not being used for what they are meant. They're not being used at all for what they are meant. Brain cells and buddhi is only specific to the human birth. Animals have buddhi, but that's only for the sake of propagation of various species and then protection from predators. How to find food? The buddhi tells. How to recognize predators and save our pack from them? Their buddhi tells. The buddhi is programmed to tell. Where to go to find water? Buddhi tells. And how to cool off when it is hot. The Buddhi told this whole bear family that went to somebody's house in the swimming pool in the backyard. The mother kept vigil and the two cubs went had a nice swim. Then they kept, it's all on video. Then they were playing outside in the yard and the mother cooled off nicely. And so this much they know. What to do they know. And then they know how to recognize their own species. That's important for propagation. If there is a small, what is that called? Pocket dog, which lives in the purse. Purse dog, yeah. Some wawa, what is it? Chihuahua. Chihuahua? Okay, whatever. If that wawa were to meet this big whiskey dog, whiskey carrying dog in the winter, yes, it won't mistake it for a lion. It will know this is also a dog. It's programmed to know that. It will first go deep inside the purse and then bark. Okay? So, this way, this much is the buddhi of animals, and maybe a few little dog treats, how to look cute, so that the owner will give me this, and then how to chew up the owner's slippers when they are not looking, and then look very guilty and sad, so that they feel bad and they pet me. All this much they know, that's it. Enough to lead their lives. But the human being, this is not the goal. The goal is not to recognize predators. The goal is not to recognize the same species. The goal is certainly not just the propagation of the species. That is not the human goal. The human being is hardwired for freedom, moksha. And if the human being is hardwired for moksha, then that has to express itself. Where? In the buddhi alone. Where else will it express itself? The desire for moksha expresses itself through an ennui, a fancy French word meaning boredom. Okay, and through the total disgust for what I am doing. Same old actions, same old results, and some more actions. I thought they would bring in other results, but guess what? Same old results. Day by day. And so, if the buddhi is to do what it is meant to do, I have to cultivate it that way. I have to give it fodder for thought. I have to have some introspection. I have to give it a little airing, a little break from the same old kind of preoccupations. And if I'm not using the buddhi for what it is meant, it's as good as not there. In the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the sage Gargi is tasked with the job of assembling a sabha, a group of scholars, highly erudite people. So she's asking questions to help make these decisions. Who can be part of this royal assembly of highly regarded scholars? She meets her match in sage Yajnavalkya. She asks a question. Kaha kripanaha? Who is the stingiest person in the whole universe? What would you say? Someone who doesn't give dana, charity, someone who doesn't help out anybody. That is our answer. But sage Yajnavalkya, that's why he is a sage, looks at things very differently. His answer is Atmanam aviditva asman lokan yaha yaf praiti bhogargi saha kripanaha. The one who departs this universe without knowing oneself, that person is called the stingiest person. Kanjus we have. Now that's the Hindi word. And there is a word that goes along with it. What is that? Makhi chus. Makhi chus means, I have to tell you the story of that, that's all. So the Kanjus, the parsimonious fellow, was enjoying a cup of tea. Alas, a fly fell into the tea. Most people, what would they do? Throw away the tea. But he decides to throw away the fly. Disgusting as that is, he sees that there are a few drops of tea stuck to the fly. You can use your imagination after that. I don't want to talk about it. Doesn't want to waste that. So this is our imagination of what a parsimonious person does. A really parsimonious person, Kanjus person, what they do. But the Upanishad looks at the world very differently. So the one who departs from this universe without knowing the Atma as Brahman, as Bhagavan, as Ishvara, that is the person who is called Kripana, Kanjus. What is the connection between knowing the Atma and being a parsimonious person? Because the person has hoarded the brain cells, has not used the buddhi for what it is meant. The purpose for which it is meant has not been used. That's why Alpamedhas is the person. Small-brained, not the size of the brain, okay? Yeah, don't think, okay, small brain means how big should it be? It's not big-brained or small-brained. Small-brained in the sense, no viveka, no vairagya, because the whole brain is over, the buddhi is over, the intellect is overshadowed by a set of wants, urgent wants. And then nothing else is available for that person. No viveka, no vairagya, nothing. No mumukshuta. Nothing is available. So this is Alpamedhas. In the very next verse, another word is used. Small buddhi and then no buddhi. Abuddhayaha. People with no buddhi at all. No buddhi means what? Meaning they are not using the buddhi at all. As good as no buddhi. It's not that there is no buddhi. Buddhi is there. But it may as well have not been there. And so, micro puja, micro invocation, micro devata and micro phala. Time bound phala. And that also is pointed out. In which verse? Let's look at the number. The Antavattu phalam tesham. Time bound is indeed the results of these people's a micro invocation. And then whatever they ask for, they get. Because Bhagavan is Upadrashta and Anumanta, the great permitter, allows things to happen. Bhagavan just says, Tathastu, I want this. Bhagavan doesn't say, let's say you say, I want this. Whatever this is. I want to go bungee cord jumping. Bhagavan doesn't say, are you out of your mind? Look at your age. You can't even walk properly from one side to the other. Do you still want to have a back or not? Bhagavan doesn't say. Bhagavan says, Tathastu. Okay. Great permitter. Asanga. You see, if your karma permits it, You will go bungee cord jumping or whatever it is, rock climbing. These are all samskaras from previous janmas as spider. Okay, same thing. And then goat, rock climbing. Yeah. Still some residue is there. Either that or one is getting ready to become a goat in the next life. All the possibilities must be exhausted. So therefore these are no buddhis, alpa buddhis, and therefore they get small time-bound results. A drop here, a little sweetness there, a little accidental flavor somewhere. And then they have to start the micro business all over again. And then, so we saw that. And then they have a wrong idea about Bhagavan. Verse number 24 says, let us chant that. Avyaktam vyaktimapannam manyante mama buddhayaha param bhavamajanantaha mama vyayamanutamam. They have a wrong idea of the end of the worship, meaning who is the object of the worship, even they don't know. They don't know that the object of the worship is non-separate from the subject, which is themselves alone. And not only that, they think that I also have a beginning and an end, Arjuna. This is what they think because they don't have any other reference point. That's how it is. So if we are a certain way and we go somewhere else, we think everybody is like us alone. And so here they have a wrong idea of me. They think what? I am Vyaktim apannaha aham. Vyaktim apannaha means I have suddenly manifested as what? In this is contextual right now as what? Krishna avatara, as an avatara. As he declared himself to be where? In chapter 4. So they say that I was what? Avyakta, before unmanifest. I was not there before. And then I have now manifested. And then what will happen? If I was not there before, I have manifested, and then ... Later on also, I will go away. The Yadava army will fight with each other. Nobody else could kill them. Very strong army. They were just meant to self-destruct. Only one Yadava could hurt another Yadava. So too it is today in Indian politics. Okay? And so, only one Yadava. And so the Yadava army self-destructed. And then Krishna found himself. Krishna means the body-mind-sense complex from the standpoint of the avatara. Finds himself with an arrow and then gives up that particular iteration. Not gives up Bhagavata. No. Gives up that particular iteration. So that's all people know. People think I have a beginning and now I am here and then there is an end. And that's what they think, because even when I am not with them, that's what they think. And we know in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Gopikas, what would they do? They would miss Bhagavan. Why? Because he is dancing with another damsel over there. Yeah. He is not with me. With me means you should be right with me, cha-cha-cha, dancing. But he is over there. And the Lord is over there. What will I do? Sad sang. I'll sit and sing sad songs. Darshan kab doge? How could you do this to me? Don't you know how I am pining for you? And that lady is trouble. Leave her. Come to me. This is the prayer. This is the prayer of that. The Gopikas also cried, the Srimad Bhagavatam says. The Jivas also cry for Bhagavan. There was only one difference. When the Gopikas cry, they cry in tune, in swara. When the human beings, when the Jivas cry, the non-Gopika Jivas cry, then it is apaswara, no swara, wrong swara. But they cried in tune, that's all. But whether you cry in tune, Saregama Padanisa, doesn't matter, it's still tears, isn't it? And in this way, the longing never goes away. If one thinks of Bhagavan as confined to a particular form, confined to a particular time, confined to a particular place, then what happens? Bhagavan Brahman, the cause of the universe, becomes one more object for seeking. And if Bhagavan becomes one more object for seeking, then it becomes finite. No more can we say Brahman, Brihi, Vriddhau, limitlessly big. We cannot say. Total, Samashti, limitless, without beginning and end, we cannot say. And this is in most people's head. This is what Bhagavan is. You invite them to some Bhagavad Gita talks. What will they say? Or Gita home study sessions. I don't have time. I'm doing a lot. Meaning what? I'm doing a lot. This is one more pursuit in addition to A, B, C, D, E, and this is F, and I don't have time for F. F for fail. Okay, wrong. This is the wrong understanding. And this is exactly what is being conveyed in this verse. Avyaktam vyaktimapannam manyante. They think of me as someone who has just manifested in the form of this avatara, and then I will go away, and then this is the end of me. Me with name, me with form, me with function. And this is most people's misunderstanding of myself. And then, why? Because param bhavam ajanantah. Mama param bhavam ajanantah. And what is this param bhavam? Avyayam anuttamam bhavam. Avyayam, anuttamam and param qualify bhavam. Bhavam means my nature, my swarupa. My swarupa, they don't know as the ultimate thing in the universe, gaining which there is no more incompleteness, no more clutching and clinging to objects, people, events, situations, circumstances, and no more is there a sorrow, anger, fear, etc. They don't know that. Why? Because they catch hold of apara prakriti. We saw this earlier. Apara prakriti. Not what? Para prakriti. Para prakriti, in short, what is it? Sat, Chit, Ananda, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. Shuddha Chaitanya. Chaitanya, awareness, consciousness. Shuddha doesn't mean clean. Here Shuddha means unconditioned by attributes. Apara Prakriti, as though conditioned. You cannot say conditioned, okay? As though. In Vedanta class, you have to use as though many times in the course of one class. Otherwise, it's not a Vedanta class. But we cannot afford to understand the phrase as though. Yeah, that has to be understood properly. Then everything else becomes as though. So it cannot be really conditioned. It's as though conditioned. As though conditioned by attribute. Why is it not really conditioned? Because if it's really conditioned by attributes, it will become that. The Bhagavan will become attribute one. One means wala, attribute. The one who has attributes. But the attribute of word and meaning, name, form, are just what? As though. Swarupa aparityagena rupantarapattihi. This is how the as though is explained technically. Swarupa aparityagena. Without giving up the Swarupa, which we have determined in this chapter as Para Prakriti, which we have determined as that which is the source of all existence, that which is not jada, inert, that which is in fact all knowledge, sentience, and that which never comes to an end. Satyam Jnanam Anantam. So without afflicting that, without really giving up that Swarupa of Satyam Jnanam Anantam, as though Rupantara Pattihi, as though taking on various forms and names. So the various forms and names are what? Satchidananda plus name, Satchidananda plus form. Everything is that. It's, it's like modak. Make a modak. Modaka means that which makes one happy. That is literally its meaning. The agent of happiness. And it is, if you look at Ganesha photos, statues, you will find him holding it. Kind of a ball which is pinched on top. Why is it pinched on top? Because it has a filling. It's sometimes rice dough, which is double boiled, and then it is rolled, and then you put a ball of calories inside it. Usually what? Coconut, jaggery, yes. Huh? Yeah, got the idea. So they are starting a whole blog of recipe. So then you take this ball and put it inside that, okay? You can't just do a round thing, you have to pinch it on top so that it doesn't leak when it is steamed. You put it in a steamer and then steam it. When we were children, we would take out the skin and the elders would scold us, come running behind us. We would just hide somewhere and then remove the outer thing and just do swaha to the ball of calories. But when we look at it, when you look at the modaka, that's what it is. And in fact, the filling has a very interesting name, Purna. This is what it's called. Purna. And you can even roll it out. Puran, Poli, it's same thing. Purna. Even our sweets are Vedantic. Really. Every sweet dish is a Mahavakya. Yeah. And so the outer shell, without the sweetness of the inner filling, is what? Bland. Terrible tasting. But along with the filling, one can enjoy, and the point is to enjoy this variegated world, Jagat, of names and forms in the same way. In the same way. Purnam, that's what it is. It's all Purna. And so, the whole Satchidananda is like that Purna. Every name and form becomes sweet, becomes enchanting, becomes worthy of transaction, worthy of pursuit, worthy of getting to know, Why? Not because of the name and form, that's like that outer covering, but because of the presence of Satchidananda. This, Arjuna, the people do not know. This is my para prakriti. And without undergoing any change, I have entered the whole universe. Entered again, we have to put here. I have to permanently hold my hands like this. What does this mean? Yeah, sign language for as though. This is chin mudra and this is as though mudra, okay? Yeah. So the whole world of names and forms has become very interesting because of the presence of Bhagavan. Because Bhagavan has as though entered without undergoing any change. Swasvarupa aparityagena rupantarapattihi. And this the people do not know. They think of me as located in a place, in a body, at a particular time. And who are these people? The people who are not terribly bright. Abuddhayaha, who don't think, don't have viveka. Forget vairagya, they don't even have just some basic understanding of what is Atma, what is Anatma, what is Nitya, what is Anitya. So without knowing my Parambhavam as what? Avyayam. Na vyeti iti avyayaha. Vyeti means that which does not decline in any way, that which is not subject to age. Shadvikara. 6 kinds of modifications are given. Do you want me to go through them? Yes? No? People are doubtful. Yeah. Jayate is born. Survives birth. Asti. Vardhate grows up. Viparinamate blossoms. Apakshiyate. I don't even need to translate, see? Declines. And then what? Vinashyati. Ram Naam Satya hai. Yes. Is destroyed. These are the 6 modifications. Every single thing that can be objectified in the world undergoes. Except the one who objectifies everything is spared of these modifications. The one who doesn't have these modifications is the Purusha, is the truth of the self, is Bhagavan, who is called Avyaya, that which never declines. Even in grammar we have some Avyayas. Words that do not decline. Like what? Cha. Cha means what? And. You don't say chaha, chau, che. No. They don't decline. It's cha, cha, cha all the time. And so, like this, I am avyaya. There is nothing there. Absolutely no decline of any kind, no change. Unchanging I am. And anuttamam. Anuttamam means incomparable to anything else that is there. I can't be compared. Ishvara is like ... How many Ishvaras are there? 1. Why did it take so long to answer? So, this one non-dual Ishvara, who are you going to compare with? This is the bane of Vedanta poets. They don't know who to compare Brahman Ishvara with. They have only 2 metaphors that they overuse all the time. One is sun, because of that self-lit Atma, self-evident light of consciousness. Light because it brings everything to light. So they overuse that metaphor. Which metaphor is that? Light, sun. And another one is commodious like space. That's all. All the poets of Vedanta they find themselves in a quandary. Because what is poetry based on? Various comparisons. Simile. Simile they cannot use with Brahman Ishvara because there is nothing to compare. Incomparable it is. It is not like anything in the universe. It is unlike everything else. It's not like anything else. It's not one among the many. That's why you can't have adjectives. That's why there are no attributes. That is why it is known through lakshana, indicatory words. We saw that. And so, anuttamam. That there is no comparison. Satchidananda is like, you just have to have a big blank there. It's like when that Hanumanji was sitting on top of Arjuna's flag. He gave Arjuna a blessing. He was very old by that time. He's one of the Chiranjeevis, meaning always alive. And so he was there, he was old. Come on, come fight in the battle. He said, no, I'm too old for that. I'm just going to be where? I'm just going to be sitting on the flag. That's why Kapidhvaja, Arjuna's name. And then he said, I can do a few things. Whenever something terrible is happening, and when the Pandavas are on the brink of losing, I'll make a terrible karkasha sound. I'll screech so badly that people will hold their ears and run away. Mummy, mummy, they'll think of their moms. I'll make them to do that. So that you get some respite and gather the army and just, you can take that little diversion, you can make use of that diversion. And he did that. He did his part and screeched and everything. But most of the time he slept. He woke up when Abhimanyu was fighting. He woke up one more time, only 2 times he woke up. Rest of the time he was fast asleep. Later on he was asked, how was the Kurukshetra War? What was it like? And he said, what? The fight between Rama and Ravana was the one. This is nothing. This is what, you and your mantra-powered missiles, big deal. You're just shooting arrows and then standing in a line. Nothing. That was the war. That was the war. You picked up one asura, looked around, and then what? Picked up another asura, bash. Both of them gone. So the war between Rama and Ravana is like ... the war between Rama and Ravana. Incomparable. So too is here, Bhagavan declares himself as incomparable, beyond the body, beyond the mind, beyond the senses, etc. But why don't people know this is described in the next verse. Naham prakashas sarvasya yogamaya samavritah modhoyam nabhijanati loko mamajam avyayam aham sarvasya na prakashah. I am not evident to all. I am not evident to everyone. What do you mean you are not evident? You are in the form of the self-evident Atma. You are the light of all lights. You are Jyotisham api tad Jyotihi. Later on it's going to be said. You are that. And how come you are saying I am not evident to everybody? I am not evident as as the truth of themselves. I'm self-evident, all right, but what that self is, they do not know, and a totally unknown self is not going to cause problems. If the ajnanam is total, then there is no problem. Why? Even dog has ajnanam, cat has ajnanam. And all of them are what? Much happier than the rest of humanity put together. Why? Because they don't have part B of Atma Ajnanam. Part A of Atma Ajnanam, I don't know myself. That is samanya for every being on the universe who hasn't studied Vedanta. Every being, even non-human beings, have Atma Ajnanam. Then what is part B of Atma Ajnanam? Therefore, I come to wrong conclusions. Anyatha Jnanam. Ajnanam, part A, Anyatha Jnanam, the misapprehension of myself as finite, subject to complaints, subject to pain, subject to sorrow, subject to all kinds of issues, limited, every which way you look at it, especially financially. This is the lot of most of the people. Human beings have part A and part B. And therefore, there is a misapprehension of the nature of the I. So even though the Atma is self-evident, I know I am. That's why I keep asking that question. What is the question? Are you here? And everybody will say yes. It's not only the Jnani will say yes and the other people keep quiet. No, everybody says yes. I know I am. But if you ask the next question, who are you? What are you? All kinds of answers will come. Oh, nobody loves me. Nobody pays attention to me. Nobody even asks me how you are. How am I? Nobody is asking. Why should they ask? I've never figured this out. Why should they ask? This is all a mistake. Based on that first mistake, what is the original mistake? I don't know myself. I don't know I am Satchidananda. But the mistake doesn't stop there. It bleeds and leaks into the feeling. So since I don't know who I am, and since I have a free will, since I have great imagination, I come to wrong conclusions. Wrong conclusions about the nature of the I. To those people who suffer from part A and part B of Atma Ajnanam, I am not evident. My nature as the truth of themselves, I am not evident to them as the content, the truth of their very self. Na aham prakashaha sarvasya. Oh, now I feel bad for them. Why? Why not? Bhagavan himself explains in the next pada. What is that? Yogamaya Samavritah. Yogamaya is Maya who is very fit, has done yoga. No. And therefore can delude completely. No. Yogamaya means the active, the one manifest, active. Yogamayaya Samavritah. Samavritah means their thinking, their understanding is covered as though. Okay, nothing can cover the Atma. That's why we have to say as though. Like that verse from the Dakshinamurti Stotram. Rahu grastha divakarendu sadrusho maya samachhadanat. Achhadanam is there. There is as though covering. I feel like I'm living under a thick teacup all the time. And that is the Avarana Shakti of Maya, the veiling power. You can even call it veiling power with a W-A-I-L-I-N-G, because the veiling power, V-E-I-L-I-N-G, makes one wail. Cry out. In or out of tune, doesn't matter. But this is the lot of the human being. I am coming under the spell of the Avarana Shakti of Maya. Who is Maya? Bhagavan, Bhagavati. All knowledge. But then, all knowledge from the standpoint of Ishvara. But from the standpoint of the Jiva, that is what? All ignorance. It's all one way. See, suppose if I'm holding this book, right? I don't see you. And you also don't see me. Right? But here, it's only one way. If it is, so it is like Bhagavan is having this covering. Bhagavan can see everything. Nobody can see Bhagavan. This kind of a selective covering, everybody has at birth. Nobody is spared. And that also he is going to say that. Either at the end of this chapter or at the beginning, both places he will say. Nobody is spared. But then, the ability to come out of this Atma Ajnanam is possible because there is free will, because there is a awareness that I feel I have a notion of bondage, and then I can work to cultivate all the prerequisites for the Atma Jnanam, gain Guru Prapti through prayer, etc., Upasana, and then gain this knowledge. Gain the grace of the Shastra Guru and give myself the gift of being able to receive this knowledge, Atma Kripa, and then gain this knowledge. Until then, na aham prakashah sarvasya. Why? Because yoga mayaya samavritatvat. Because of the avarana shakti of this Maya. Vishnu Maya, Yoga Maya, whatever you want to call it. So therefore what happens? The people get deluded. Deluded means that they are not understanding the truth of themselves. They are not there and they are not fully on board. On board what? Emotional maturity, growth, nothing. They are just doing micro puja, micro invocations for micro results. Results that they have to look for under a microscope. That's what is micro results. Karma phala, here, tathastu. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, you have to bring a microscope and say, oh, okay, this small wish has been granted. And they are completely stuck on that. They cannot come out of that. It's a catch-22. Until they come out of that, the avarana won't go. Until the avarana goes, they can't come out of that. But there is a little bit of relative. They have to move their hands and legs. They have to make an effort in the correct direction to understand the truth of themselves. Until they do that, they are mudhas. Mudha means what? Pujya Swamiji used to say, filtered fool. Yeah. So, Ati Mudha, somewhere it had come once, studying an Upanishad with him. So, na janati Ati Mudha in some Upanishad. So, this Ati Mudha, he translated as filtered fool. What is a filtered fool? All the fools you take and put them in a sieve, and then you go like this. You put them in a large sieve. Many of them will fall. The few that remain on top, filtered fools. Fools among fools. This is how he used to explain that. Mudhaha ayam mudhaha na janati. Is that na janati or na abhijanati? Same thing. Na janati, abhijanati. Abhitaha means all round, doesn't know. Na abhitaha na janati. Lokaha mam. Lokaha means these mudhaha lokaha, these people who of wrong priorities. Foolish doesn't mean developmentally challenged, or it's not that Bhagavan is cursing the people. But challenged viveka vairagya wise, because they are steeped in the go-getter mentality. Go get my karma and karma phala. Go get my desires fulfilled. That is what they are steeped in. So there is no other priority that shines, and I as a priority do not shine for such people. Ajam avyayam. So mam ajam avyayam. They don't understand my nature as unborn and unchanging. These people of foolish priorities. It's not the people are foolish, the priorities are foolish. Next one. Vedaham samatitani vartamanani charjuna bhavishyani cha bhutani mantu vedana kaschana. Elaborating on the nature of Bhagavan, writing like an autobiography of himself, Lord Krishna says, what is the hallmark of who Ishvara is? Not Mr. Krishna here, Ishvara. Who is this Bhagavan? Aham Veda. I know. Veda Aham. I know. Veda Aham doesn't mean I am the Veda. No. Aham Veda. I know. What do I know? I know everything. I'm all-knowing. Bhutani samatitani Veda Aham. I know the past of all the beings. All the beings, the past, what all they did, not only in this life, in all the previous lives. This was something that Bhagavan had already declared at the beginning of chapter 4. Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacha Arjuna, tani aham vetha sarvani, natvam vetha parantapa. You and I have spent many janmas, many times. But the difference is that you don't know anything and I know all of them. That was already declared, and this is being reiterated. Bhutani means all the beings. All the beings. I know the past. Atitani, the past of all the beings. Vartamanani. Vartamanani means what? Present. I know the present. I know exactly where they are. I know what other foolish pursuits they are going to take up. I know where they will slip. I know where they will fall. I know what they will do. Vartamanani. And then what else? Bhavishyani. I know after several false starts, they will come crying to me. That also I know. I know the future also. Maybe some people need a few more lifetimes for that inner maturity. I know that. And maybe some people are already ready and they are ready to come to me to understand me as the truth of themselves. So Bhavishyani, Vartamanani and Atitani of all the Bhutani I know. Okay, I know all these things. And then, but here is a catch. Mam tu na veda kaschana. Nobody knows. Nobody knows my antecedents. Nobody knows my whatever is going to come later. Nobody knows what all I am capable of. Nobody knows my nature. And here we have to add as an object. Because that's how people are seeking Bhagavan also. As a separate object. Someone to give darshan. Someone to put a hand on the head. Someone to show, what is this called? Abhaya mudra. In English it means, don't fear, I am here. Yeah. Someone to show the Abhaya mudra. Someone to do this. That's how people know. But that is not the whole of who I am. I am something much, much, much more than all of this. And they don't know that. They just know me as one more pillar or one more pillar to go get support. One more thing to just catch hold of. After all the things have failed repeatedly. But they just know me as that. They don't know the essence of me at all. Why? See above. Yoga mayaya samavritah. Because there is the problem of avarna. Ichha dvesha samuddhena dvandva mohena bharata sarva bhutani sammoham sarge yanti parantapa. So here he says that, so in 25 we saw the avarana shakti of Maya, and in 27 we are going to see the vikshepa shakti of Maya and how that also can come, that also can and does come in the pursuit of, come in the way of the pursuit of self-knowledge. How Ichha and Dvesha. Ichha Dvesha. Ichha and Dvesha. Ichha means Raga. Dvesha means Dvesha. Raga Dvesha. Strong preferences. Raga. Strong prejudices. Dvesha. Ichha Dvesha Samuddhena. Because of the rise of Raga Dveshas. That's the projection. You see, this is the projective power. Because of the rise of Raga Dvesha, and then there is another kind of a moha, Dvandva moha. Dvandva moha means these two things I like, and I'm going to pursue all the things I love, and then I'm going to go away from the things I do not love. This is the whole life. Pravritti, nivritti. Running after what I want, running away from uncomfortable situations and things I absolutely do not want. Whole life is gone. Life after life is gone. So, ichha dvesha samuddhena, and then this is what is called dvandva moha. Moha caused by dvandva. Dvandva for which, moha for which dvandva is the cause. And so, caused by this moha, caused by these opposites, raga, dvesha, is the dvandva here. And then sammoham sarva bhutani yanti. All the beings are some. Whenever the prefix sam comes, that means very nicely. And what? Mohitam, deluded. Nicely deluded. And then when sarge, even at the time of birth, srij, to create, sarge, even from the beginning of their lives, they are totally deluded. This is the vikshepa shakti. How, etc., we'll see tomorrow. Om Purnamadav Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.